And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this fine world. Thank you for joining me for episode 135 of the Saturday Morning Stand Up, where we discuss the happenings within and what we've been up to in Splinterlands. I think the big news this week, there's a lot going on. It seems like every week I come on here and say there's a lot been going on because frankly, within the last few months, the Splinterlands team has been putting a lot of updates out to the game. I think this last week, the news of the new land cards kind of took priority for me because as I've discussed in the past and I haven't really done a purely land video in a while because to me, there hasn't been a lot of change. I've been on this slow evolution of trying to find deals on land properties and buying them when I could, and then staking out the land with cards and DEC as I could as a slow process, right? But there has not been a whole lot to talk about. A lot of times I will go ahead and claim my land on this stream on a weekly basis. In fact, I have to do that today, but they put out, Cryptomancer put out more information on the land cards this past week. Of course, I think that, well, I know that a number of creators have put out videos on that information. I didn't really, and we can get into it as we get further into the stream, but I wanted to soak up the information, and we'll take a look at the page here in a minute. And we're not going to talk about it the whole time because I know there's some people that attend this stream and they're not interested overall a whole lot in land. But if you didn't know, I do like the whole idea of land, but getting the news and the information around the land cards this week has made me stop and take a fresh picture of how I'm going to be able to participate in Splinterlands. And I really need to do a side episode on this and talk about this because really it's to the point where with the expense involved in the new land cards, I can't afford to keep investing in the regular play of the game as well as in the land. I think that's about as bluntly as I could put it. It's just too expensive. So I do feel like that as I have for years, I will continue with at least my main account playing in. I feel I'll probably still keep two accounts playing in Wild with the Archmage bot. And here lately, my win percentage with the Archmage bot has been pretty flaky. It's not been as good as it has been in the past. So I frankly really thought about, changing over bots. But I think I'll keep my two accounts going. My main account mainly plays in Diamond 1 and Champ 3, kind of goes in and out of Champ 3. And I earn a decent amount of SPS. And that's another thing. This past week, I have, due to the amount of DEC that will be needed for everything for the land cards, this is the first time I've sold off SPS. Well, not necessarily sold off. I've taken, for the last almost 4 years now, I've taken SPS and just direct staked it, right? But this last week, whenever I heard the news of how expensive the SPS or the land cards were going to be, I took a number of actions. If you weren't familiar with it, the land cards are going to require a number of different resources, as well as the other part of that equation is the huge number of cards you're going to need to burn to be able to create those cards. So I've kind of I started trading SPS for DEC on a daily basis. Whatever I was earning, instead of direct staking it, just swapping it over DEC so I can accumulate DEC, which I in turn am buying portions of some of the different materials that I will need for making these land cards, as well as trying to find some deals on cards, which are, let's be real here, all these prices are going up, okay, which is what they were shooting for. But when you look at the cards they were averaging out and trying to average out the price and quoting the price, and all these quotes are still in the works. So I think the main thing is I'm looking forward to these land cards, but I'm hoping they re-examine the numbers and see how expensive these cards are going to be. I can understand, and I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but bear with me. We'll get into chat here in a minute. I can understand how hard it is to average out these cards and the value they bring to your land play as well as the price, because they really have to average these out for the high-end players. Because looking at the numbers, seriously, towards the lower end, to me, unless you're just a fresh player starting out with land, there's no way I would take one of those land cards and swap them in, because I would be losing production power. Okay, that's enough said for now. Let's go ahead and jump into chat and say hello to everybody. First of all, let me get a little drink of coffee. I hope everyone is doing well today on this Saturday. It rained last night here, and it's kind of, it's nice outside, but it's kind of wet and leafy. That's a fall weather term up here in the Northeast, wet and leafy. Okay, let's jump into chat and see who all's here. We got the Crypto Beaver in the house. Welcome, and good morning to you as well. Paul Taylor's here. Welcome, Paul. Thanks for dropping by. Preview This is here. Lady Sharon's in the house. Welcome, Sharon. Says, good morning. I have been a little sporadic with Splinterlands lately. I'll probably be getting back into it soon. Well, we always like to listen to you. Always like to have you around. Good commentary, good questions, always keeping the discussion fresh. Gathering the Magic is here. I watched your couple videos this past week, and, not to say that the number surprised me, but they almost had me. In fact, at one point during the burn video, I laughed out loud due to the numbers of cards involved that need to be burned to create these land cards. But thanks for making those and running the numbers. Gathering says, good morning. Lots of land card details to talk about. Card pack market has really been active the last few days. And I will add to that the material market, buying and selling materials, has slowly been going up over the last week as well. Because I've been, like I said, I've been buying a little bit each morning to try to do like a dollar cost average type deal, because we're going to need huge amounts of, mostly I'm interested in, I would be happy if I could have one maximum common card, okay? But if you look at the numbers of how many cards and everything that's going to need to be burnt, it's a huge amount of materials and cost involved. And it just, I started off with the idea of wanting a max level earth card or water card for my grain production, and then possibly one max level rare for some wood production. But it's another situation where I think they're averaging the cost out for the top level players, and us players down here at the bottom we can't really do it due to the costs involved. You may say, hey, you can go in here at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, if you're a fresh player, then these low-end cards would be good to stick on land and may be cost effective. But if you're like me, and most of the cards I have on my land are 2,500 to 12,000 production points, sticking one of those low-end cards on there to swap out I would take a big hit in production points on that land. Now, as you go up, you start getting into the bonuses for rationing, the dark discount, and the bountiful grain, and that helps out and those things help out, but it's all about production power, and taking a heavy hit on that production power seems to me like taking a step back, especially if I have to say pay $250 for a max level common card. Okay, so. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox for a minute. Snowballs is here. So hello to you as well. Tama the Llama is here. Welcome. Sharon says, I haven't even checked out the land stuff, but I'm sure that you're talking about it while I pause to type this in. Yeah, I need to do a full video, but I didn't want to just jump on the news, do a video, quote some numbers, and not let it sink in. And in my mind, I didn't do the number. I'm not as good as math as Gathering is. So I wanted to see what he had to say about it. And he did, as usual, he did the numbers out, and it was kind of where I thought it was going to be in this really huge level stratosphere amount of buying grain and burning cards, where I can see on the team side, they have this huge amount of Chaos Legion cards they want to burn up, right? And I can understand that, and I can understand the value to the game of having those gone, right? But at the same time, I'm a low to mid-level player, I guess I could say. I've spent $10,000+ on this game over the last 4 years. I consider myself not low end, but every time one of these things come out that I'm really interested in, it's always like, hey, you're going to need to spend $200 to $500. Well, I've got to pick where I can play now and where I can't. So what that also means is I have to consider my card collection. Okay, I'm going to have to go through my card collection, and I have a lot of cards, and I think we all have a lot of cards if you've been playing for a while that just don't get used. I got a couple BCX here, a couple BCX here, a couple, and they're cool cards. They're older cards, but in the game, it's shown that older cards, and especially if they're not being used for play and directly earning SPS off of them, they're just sitting there and doing nothing. And they're so low end that they wouldn't be any value of putting on land or anything unless I boosted them up and bought a bunch of extra copies of them, right? So I'm going to have to decide, one, which cards I'm going to burn for Cinder, which is a requirement to make your land cards, right? And then also which cards on the top end, which don't get used as well because they're only 1 or 2 BCX, but might be valuable enough to go ahead and sell off. Like I have a Riskrell Drath, 1 BCX. He never gets used because my account plays in Diamond 1 Champ 3. It just never gets used. I got it off one of the prizes or an airdrop or something like that, and same thing with a few of these other legendary cards. Slipped my mind for a minute. Cards like Rick Luneman, great card, but at 1 BCX, he never gets used, things of this nature. So I'll need to figure out what I'm doing with my account, what I'm going to burn, what I'm going to sell off to try and basically boost my land play. So that's what it's really coming down to. It's I've tried to play both sides of the fence, and we're getting to the point in the land game that I just can't play both sides of the fence anymore. And going forward, there's just going to be more expansion and more things because everything. I'm sorry, this kind of sounds like a gripe fest. I like the idea of the new cards and what they bring to the game. I just think they're too expensive. And it seems like every single evolution of the land game just brings more cost. And I know big guys out there, the big dogs out there saying, stop whining. Just front Splinterlands. So let's go back to chat, see what everybody's saying. Sharon says, in the meantime, I unlocked a couple You know what I'm doing? I'm forgetting to put everybody's chat up on the board. Sorry, I got into this discussion mode of what I wanted to talk about. Banana says land feels too much like paying bills or making a budget. A lot of work to break even. I lost interest in it. Well, it is a certain amount of the gameplay that people. I think either you like it or you don't like it. Buying and selling commodities on the market. It's that kind of feel. So you're exactly right. It is kind of like paying bills, right? And it's an expensive game to play. So that's why I'm in the situation I'm in. But you're right. Some people just don't dig it, right? So, but at the same time, I think it still goes to my point. Like it's for us low to medium level players, it's getting too expensive to play both of the sides of the fence. So to me, I think you have to decide where you're going to be. Maybe you dabble a little bit in land, but yeah. Snowball says chaos packs are going to go up in value. Yeah, Gathering said they were already going up in value. Let's go to the market. Other items. 39, not too bad. I think they were up to like 50 cents. But not too bad. That's another talking point there, right? The idea of just buying the cheap chaos packs and burning the cards, or if you possibly get a nice legendary, throw it up on the market, right? Or if it's nice enough, throw it on the land and stake it. I have a number of these chaos packs just still sitting. Haven't done anything with them. The thought crossed my mind to just open them and either stake, burn, or sell off the cards. Paul says, have you crunched the numbers? Is it even worth it to craft the cards? Well, Gathering did. Gathering did, and we had a few little discussion, a little bit of a discussion between us in chat. Still remains to be seen. The main topic I have, the main point I want to bring up while you brought up your point, is the fact that I wanted to get to the top level. The key point of getting to the top level is getting the most production power out of that card, getting the highest boosts out of that card, as well as getting that labor's luck. However, here's my point, and this is what I asked Gathering, and he agreed with me on this topic, is it's going to use the same, I don't know if it's the same math, but it's like drawing a totem fragment when we used to get totem fragments whenever you draw it. So I can remember, those totem fragments were dropping for more than a year, and I can remember getting some, but not a whole lot. Now, it's going to use the same type of drop. It's probably far less of a drop rate than what totem fragments is, because the cards are much nicer. They're going to be black foil. They're going to be gold foil, arcanes and stuff. They're much nicer. You're going to get a max level card out of it, which is going to be awesome if you can turn around and stake that and throw it on another property you have, right? Great. However, the question is, due to the drop rate and the current drop rate with how they've decreased all the drop rates across the game, or, in the new reward system, is it worth it to push it to the top level? So there's some obvious takeaways. So we're using this, the common one here. Obviously, if you're a new player, have some new land. If you're setting up that land, just getting it to the energized stage, which is level 3, would help you out, because then you wouldn't have to buy your power core. What's it like 400 or 4,000 DEC? I forget, somewhere around there. $2, $3, or $4, right? You could craft one of these, throw that on there. You wouldn't have to have the power core. For us people who have everything power cores on all our property, that doesn't really do us any good, because we already have power cores. And power cores aren't sellable. They're not tradable. So what are you going to do with them? Well, the idea would be, I guess, if you buy another property, then you have a power core left over to use, right? That's the idea. I think my point here, and I know some of you probably don't want to talk about land, but this is the main thing that happened this week to me. So that benefits a newer player in the land game. Now, the next step up would also, and keep in mind that your rationing goes up as well. So, and bountiful grain. So that does help out a little bit. You're spending less grain to feed your people. And then the next real step here is at that dark discount. Now, I think that any card I do would have to have at least the dark discount, because to me, that's the first major advantage to having one of these cards, because you are reducing the amount of DEC you need staked for this card. And overall, that's a huge cost that land players have as far as staking out their property. So I think you need to have at least here. But if I came in with a common, Gathering could probably do the math on me, but I would have to give up like 2,000 production point card and go down to like what, 500 production points or something like that. So the question, there's a lot of questions in there. What level do you want to be at? Is it worth it to actually push all the way and get? So my initial thought process was, hey, what if I just say, for instance, just instead of worrying about a fully maxed out one, what if I crafted like, I don't know, 5 or 10 at level 5, right? So I could spread them around my different areas, my different properties, right? Would that grant me more than just pushing all the way to level 10 and putting that on my best grain producing land or whatever, because that labor's luck, the percentage chance that you're going to get, and I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, but it's very small, that you're going to get a drop. Now, who's going to get these good drops are the big dogs, as always, because they can afford to put these very expensive cards on all their land. And obviously, if each time you have labor's luck on a land, then you have a separate role for that, right? So good question. I have been thinking about it. I don't have an answer directly for you, but it is something I'm thinking about currently. Sorry about all that. Gathering says they are currently packs under 30 cents on Hive now. Oh, he's talking about the Chaos Legion pack. So if you go over on, I don't have Hive up here, but if you go over on Hive, you can buy the packs for a little bit less and then transfer them into game just like you would a token, an SPS token, for those newer players in the audience. Either way, I think there's going to be value there. I may buy some more Chaos Legion packs. As always, none of this is investment advice. I have to get into this habit because of the changes to YouTube coming on the 17th. Let me just take a minute here. Don't be surprised if you start seeing some kind of warnings before my videos. I know that Tails does it, and I probably should have done this years ago. And I do mention it from time to time, but the algorithm is going to start looking at us more heavily, the AI. So don't be surprised. Like I said, I approach this from a player standpoint, not an investment standpoint. So take it for what it's worth. But the packs may turn out to be a good value to just turn and buy a pack for 50 cents, open it, and then burn it for cinder, or put some on land, or if you get a really nice one, turn around and sell it, right? Gathering says, crunch the numbers way high. Yeah, he has a video. After this live stream, if you're interested, go to Gathering's channel. And within this last week, he posted 2 videos concerning the new land cards. The second one is all about burning for cinder. And that's the one that made me laugh out loud. Not because he was attempting to be funny. I think that Gathering does have a very dry wit, which I love because so do I. But it just the numbers made me laugh, right? Snowball says, I'm hoping to pick up some land cards on the market, but don't know if people will sell many. Yeah, I mean, I thought about that too, but I'm guessing that just as with anything that we can produce on land or with land, anybody. Let's stop a minute. After the first 3 days, anybody can produce these cards, and there's a very limited number, and they can only be made for, I believe, 3 months, right? My idea is they will probably sell out before that. And my idea, just as with the other bigger cards, is the people at the top of the market that are the big investors that are also into land, because there's some of the big dogs that might not be into land. They might just be into the card playing side, right? We'll buy a lot of those. You may see some on the secondary market. My guess is that they'll turn around, and obviously the market's going to market, right? But there's probably going to be it's going to be a competition, right? But my guess is they'll probably do everything else does, start out high, and then depending upon the competition, come to some median, whatever the cost is to produce plus 20% or something like that. And you'll just have to decide whether it's better to just buy it off the market, so. Snowballs goes on to say, I don't really think I will craft any cards, any land cards, that is. I try, since I've been into land, I try to do a little bit of everything new that's put into the game, so I can get a feel for actually doing it, going through, instead of just looking at the numbers. Because sometimes when you go through the process, you find out something that you hadn't thought about when you were just looking at the chart of numbers. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not saying this is investment advice. I'm a guy that's just trying to steadily improve the production power of my land. And I've got to think all these things through, because every time you make a move, it's costing you $100, It's come out to be where the cost of the actual land plot is the cheapest thing. Sorry if you all caught me on a spicy day. I think that Cryptomancer's doing a great job. I like these things that are coming out for land. They're just too expensive for me. So I'm having to come to the realization that I'm going to have to modify my play and really just put everything towards land instead of dabbling and buying packs, the new packs, Conclave Arcana packs and everything. Everything's just going to have to go more towards the land. And even some of the newer stuff, Conclave Arcana stuff, I'm going to have to start giving an eye to it and say, well, would this be better put on land or sold to use something to put towards land versus it sitting there and not getting played, right? So... Preview This says, I've downloaded it, so going to start following your videos for Splinterlands. Well, welcome, Preview This. You caught me on a salty day, but the key game for Splinterlands is a card game, okay? But there's another part of the game, which is called the land game, and I should probably switch over that since we've been talking about land. And you can actually buy properties in-game. You can build them up. You can buy cards, stake on the land, and start producing grain, wood, iron, aura, which is used to produce different things. And it's like a business kind of thing going on. And it's for those people who like land simulation type games. But it interacts with the other card game in that you can use your cards. A lot of people will use extra cards that they have in their collection on the land so that they can be doing something and not just sitting there not being used, right? So it's not necessarily a game for a brand new player. In fact, for a brand new player, I would advise you to go in, get in, get your spell book, buy your spell book, and in fact, I've got a link, a referral link in the show notes of pretty much all my Splinterlands videos that you can click on and become a member of the game. But it's $10 to get your spell book. That gives you several different advantages, basically, to get up and running in the game. And then what you want to do is you want to look and go through the campaign mode. Okay, this is basically a story mode that you can go through each individual, and this basically each individual chapter, and it teaches you how to play the game, plus you earn some cards off of it. Okay, and you can get in and start playing. Now, after you complete the campaign, then you could go in and you could start playing what's called frontier mode. Okay, and on your main play page, up at the top, you can choose between Frontier, Modern, Wild, or Survival. Survival is currently not going on. Wild are basically, you can use any card in the game, but it requires a 2000 DEC subscription every other week, basically. Modern, no subscription, but you can only use the 2 newest card sets. And then Frontier is where you're going to end up when you're a brand new player. You play there for a while, and then at a certain point, you get enough cards amassed up, maybe you buy some packs and stuff like that, and then you decide whether you want to go ahead and start dabbling in Modern. Now, in Frontier, let me take a step back. You can earn cards that you can turn around and sell in the market. Earn a little bit, buy you some cards that you need, fill out your set a little bit, and then you can buy packs on the market over here in the shop under card packs. Some standard Conclave Arcana. This is the current set, right? And start filling out your set, right? And then when you start playing if you decide to start playing in Modern, then you can start earning SPS. I'll just cut it off there. That's basically the intro, what to do when you start playing the game. So if you have any questions, let me know. As always, you can join my Discord, and I have 2 different channels in there, one for Splinterlands and one for Atlas Earth. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the channel, and one of us will most likely answer it for you. So, okay, I got off on a path there a little bit, but welcome to preview this to the game. Gathering says, just a little info, if you want enough Cinder for one of each of land rarity cards, it would be more than 138,000 Chaos Common cards. Yeah, that was one of the numbers you were going over, and that's one of the numbers that caused me to kind of laugh out loud. Because who has 138,000 extra Chaos Legion cards? Big dogs do, probably, but, you know. Preview this says, is there a calculator for this? Well, it's not necessarily, not like Atlas Earth. You just have to do your math, like what we're talking about. If you're just starting playing the game, I wouldn't be worried about this. I would just go in, like I just said, get in, start playing the game, see if you like playing the game. And after that, if you want to start playing land, then you can get in and go over in the Splinterlands main page. There's also a website called Peak Monsters, which is a little bit, to me, it's a little bit better way to look at what's for sale, but you can check out the land market over here and look at cards for sale and everything. But I don't want to overload you with data here, but get in and start playing the game, get up and running before you even think about land. What we're talking about is probably a topic for people who've been playing the land for a while and are interested in the land cards. Not to say that new players can't get in, but I think you're better placed just getting in and playing the game for a little while, getting your spell book. It's only $10. It gives you a nice boost in SPS to start earning for that first month. Get up and running, and then see what you think of the game, and then gradually get into land if you like resource creation. not creation, resource gathering, land type games where you buy properties and produce resources and you make things out of them. This is a game, the land game is a game that is still very much in evolution. It's being created. So we are currently at what's called land 1.75 steps. So there's been some incremental steps up to this point, and it's taken years, literally. But we have one good full-time developer that's working on it, and like I said, we're working towards land 2.0. It's just this week he had put out this. They created. Well, he put out this information a while ago, but it was more general. This article, which you can find in the Splinterlands main Discord announcement section, if you're interested. But hey, I can pop it in chat here. Let me copy it here. I know I'm way behind in chat. I'll try to catch up. Once again, welcome everybody. Thanks for dropping by as always. You know what we can do? It's a little bit after 12 here. Let's see here. Hey, Armin's here. Welcome, Armin. I'm just scrolling through chat. Thanks for dropping by, Armin. There's the link. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go back here. And I lost my place in chat. Tarab says, hi, BD. You echo my sentiments exactly regarding land cards. I am engaging by stockpiling resources, but the sheer quantities have me questioning how much money I'm prepared to keep adding. Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, I just started doing this when we heard the news. And frankly, what I have to do is, since I'm interested, what I've been doing is I've been buying grain and I've been buying wood. There's no way I can do, I would love to do an epic or a legendary, but I just cannot afford that. Okay. So, so I've been concentrating, buying a little bit of, like a little bit of grain and a little bit of wood on a daily basis in the morning before I go to work, and also trying to pick off a few cards that give a good production power per dollar spent value, if that makes sense, for the sake of just burning. So I'm spending a buck or two a day on cards, and then a few bucks on grain and wood, just using that dollar cost averaging idea, because I know that the costs are fluctuating. So far, the cost of grain and wood has slowly gone up. Not a huge amount over the week, but it's slowly going up. And I believe that going towards, once again, not investment advice, going towards the card release, when that happens, those costs will continue to go up. Will they fluctuate? Sure, but that's why I'm using the dollar cost averaging idea. Whether that works out for me or not, I guess we'll find out. Snowball says Gathering's video on this was very helpful. Yeah, he went through and did all the math. So if you have any questions about the math, I'm not going to redo that idea because he does numbers better than I do. I can just sit here for half an hour and talk about it. Because, you know, mainly there's a lot of things that have come into the game over the last few months that hey, this is cool. Yeah, this is a great advancement in the game. But overall, it hasn't been my main focus. Land has been my main focus, okay? And I've been waiting for a long time for this card information to come out. Because, frankly, these cards, there's what's called a Land 2.0 white paper. And before that was a Land 1.0 white paper. And you can find them, and they're linked on in the Discord, in the Splinterlands Discord. You can find them. If you're interested. It gives all the full information about land. But these cards just weren't in there, right? When we were going through this process, this was an idea that I guess came out from the public the players over the years that I guess the team thought, hey, this is a good idea. And then they started developing towards the land card idea. I thought it was a great idea, but I was just kind of let down when I saw the prices involved. Now, keep in mind that these prices are still fluid. In other words, until they actually come when it goes live, then it is what it is, right? Hey, we got a match here. Hey, there's my black foil. Archmage played my black foil right up front. We got a caravan guard with triage, headwinds, echo, and painforge. Oh, I guess everybody has painforge now, right? Oh, this is the no pain, no gain. Silver Shield Assassin is, sorry, taking a detour from the conversation here. I love Silver Shield Assassin. I wish I could have it in max level. I got him at level 5, or him or her. I love this card. It's a lifer, but it's got sneak, double strike, poison, and of course for this rule set, Painforge. What's not to like about that? Backed up by Adelaide, Olivia the Brook, love Olivia. She's become less powerful since the newest set came out, though. Iziar and Jin Renova, who I also love. Okay, let's go ahead and see this battle, see how it turns out. Went in with Grandmaster Wraith versus Immortalis. And then we'll get back to chat. I just saw this pop up, so while we're watching that, let's see what everybody's saying. Gathering says, even if you can't max one card out, I think if people just make as many as they can, those cards will sell well. Yeah, I agree. I think that they, once again, not investment advice, but it looks like he's going to trounce me. I think that they will sell on the market due to the low numbers. Okay, there's such, and I got defeated by somebody named Wegisnacked. Okay. Let's go back to land. I have to do my claims, but I do agree. I think they will sell well. Tarab says, I want a max common. It's as much as I can reasonably reach, but it feels bad. Yeah, I agree. It's just the numbers are so huge for a common. Now, I don't think that I'm making an argument that's out of line. I'm a regular medium level player, I guess, in the game. And I think I should be able to afford a common card for my land at max level without having to put a second mortgage on my house. Okay, Gathering says, I will try for a max common, but 8 million grain and 100,000 collection power to burn is going to be a real tough. I completely agree. Tarab says, ditto, I'm diverting everything into grain and common reward cards at the moment, but I don't know if it will be enough. Emiwanti is here, and I know I'm behind in chat, but I try to get to everybody's chat as soon as possible. Happy Saturday to you as well. Been meaning to stop by one of your streams lately, but I've just been a lot going on at work. They're laying off, as is pretty much everybody. And I've been trying to make some backups of my channel videos because of the new community guidelines go into place on the 17th. I did a video on that, so I'm just kind of trying to take some actions leading up to the 17th to help me out a little bit, and just kind of getting ready to hold my breath. Okay, so Gathering says the team does need to adjust how much production power the land cards have, especially at low levels, or they don't make a lot of sense, like you said. Yeah, I agree. I think especially, I think they need to be scaled up with production power. Otherwise, you'll be looking at them, you're like, yeah, I mean, some of the bonuses they give you kind of a little bit, it's like a scale, production power, the rest of the bonuses, which is better, So I agree. I think they need to look at all costs associated and rebalance it out. That's my opinion. But what do I know? That and $1.50 might get you a coffee over at McDonald's. Lady Sharon says, so can you buy these cards yet? The answer is no. I'm going to have to check. I don't have a lot of stuff on land. It may be more cost effective for me to get a low end card, though. Clearly, I probably won't go further. No, Sharon, we were talking about, like I said, you can find the full article, the link to this. Well, I put it in chat, but it's in the announcement section of Splinterlands. These are cards that will be able to be made. Anybody can make them after the first 3 days. The first 3 days, landholders will have a ration of the cards that they can create, and that ration, how many you can create, is directly dictated by how much production power you have active on your lands. Now, there was some discussion as far as what active production is, and I think the answer is going to be production power that is actually staked out. In other words, you can't just have, if you have more cards on your land than what you have DEC staked to make them active, I don't think that extra part is going to count towards that. But first 3 days, you can create cards if you're a landowner. After that, anybody can create cards. And the cards will be created by buying materials. Like here, you can see that, making one copy of the common card is going to cost 20,000 grain. It's going to cost 375 cinder, which, to get cinder, when this goes live, you're going to have to burn cards. This is per one copy of the card. This over here is per maximum level of that card. So, and one point I wanted to say here is, these costs that they did the other day before releasing this article are no longer correct. The prices involved here are much higher, or I guess much is an adjective that is overly used, but they're higher, and they will probably continue to go higher as these resources are in much more demand. So the answer to your question is, you can create them, or people that create them can turn around and sell them on the market. So after this happens and they go live, and they can be made for the first 3 months or until they sell out, which will probably occur first, then you'll probably start seeing some cards on the market. And the prices that they'll sell for will obviously be for how much ever, this costs, So a common BCX would cost how much ever 20,000 grain is, and 375 CC or 375 cinder, plus, a profit margin of 15-25% or whatever it turns out to be, because the market's going to market, right? So, okay, speaking of that, I need to claim my land. So as usual, I'm going to pull out the spreadsheet over here. And let's see. And my dog just went off because my wife just got home. Okay. I think maybe that was my daughter coming down. Okay, let's look at production. And let's go into my region number 1. Now, like I said, I didn't make any improvements to my land this week because everything I put into the game was in DEC to bring some DEC into the game to have it fluid for buying more grain and wood. So let's go ahead and now I'm going to have to stop selling off grain and wood, which I was doing on a weekly basis. And I was making, I don't know, $5 a week or something like that, selling off grain and wood extra that I didn't need. I'm going to have to stop that and let this start mounting up. So let's go ahead and do a harvest all and see what I get here. Let's do a claim all. Let me get done with this and we'll get back to chat. Hey, look at that. Let's see here. I got 48,000. $984. Okay, this is region 1, and I got 15,600 wood. Okay. Now let's go back to the next region. I was thinking about making an epic land card to put on my only epic land that I have, but that would be too pricey. It would help me out on my iron, but once again, I would not be able to make a epic level. Let's see. I'm just making sure I'm stating the right thing here. So, okay, so no, I would not need an epic. I would need a legendary um, card for iron. Either way, I think that I would not be able to make a maximum level. So my production power on that property. Let's see the cards I have on it. So you can see I've got 6,600 here, 33, 33, 33, 9,000. If I replace, so even if I replaced one of these 3,300 production power cards with one that says it's not max level, so it might be 500, 600 production power, I'm taking a huge hit there, right? So the other bonuses involved would have to be worth it, right? So let's go ahead and harvest this. I need 5,400 iron, which I'm going to have to buy with DEC now because I don't want to trade off any of my grain. I have been trading grain for, actually, I need stone, not iron. I said the wrong thing. Let's go into Tostington. I need 5,500. And this is because I'm producing aura, which I haven't been able to use yet. I mean, I could, but what it's really come down to is I found that I cannot, due to me only producing aura on 2 properties and figuring out my prices involved, the big dogs are just producing much more aura at a cheaper price, and I just can't compete. So my aura is just stacking up. I'm really thinking about turning one of my lands off of the aura production. Okay, so that's not much. That's only 448 DEC. Okay, but that price is going up steadily. Not that I'm keeping track of stone. Currently, I'm only keeping track of wood and grain, but I can pretty much guess. Okay, let's go back, and then we'll jump back into chat after we get this done. Let's do a claim all, and we are on region 114. Okay, so we got 40,000. It's always good. To me, my strategy has always been to try and have enough grain production in each region to make enough grain for everything that's going on, like my grain production, my wood production, my iron production, my aura production. I don't have any stone production going on, and that's why I have to buy stone. So it's working out, kind of as expected. It's just every new update to the land game gets a little bit more expensive. The argument could be made, hey, Bronze Dragon, you just don't have to buy land cards, or you don't have to produce them. That is true. It's a valid argument. But I feel that if I'm in the land game, since this first set of cards is going to be like a test, I feel like I want to be in on it so that I can when the numbers show how many people are interested in buying those cards, at least I bought one or something or other, Okay, iron, 505. I wish I was bringing in more iron. And aura is at 3,100. Almost done. I know for non-land players this is boring, but for some land players may find this interesting. Okay, one more region, and we will check this out. This is my biggest region, commons and rares going on. And I do have 2 properties here that I picked up probably because I found a deal on them. I'm like walking through a store with a sale. If I find a deal, I got to buy it. But so let's go ahead and go to the harvest all. I'm going to once again have to buy some stone. Let's go for 3,500. But once again, I'm buying with DEC this week instead of grain. Oh, not 1,000. Okay, so that's going to run me, not too bad, 285. Like somebody said earlier, it's kind of like paying your bills. But some of us enjoy this type of gameplay, believe it or not. Okay, not paying bills, but in fact, I just had to take my Bronco in for servicing. And man, let me tell you what, the service rates. And let me tell you what, every time you go in for an oil change, this is a yearly inspection as well, all the time, cabin air cleaner. We got to change the cabin air cleaner. I'm like, I know how to change the cabin air cleaner. How much you want to change the cabin air cleaner? $100. $100? Looked online. The air filter's like $30. I'm like, I'll do it. In case you all don't know, that's one of the biggest, I don't want to say scam, but it's like one of the most markup things that they do, you know, and it's very easy in most cars to change your cabin air filter. They do get dirty. You do need to change them, but for $30, most people can do them by themselves and save $70, you know. Okay. Sorry for that detour. Let's go ahead and claim. Okay, this is region 133. And I went into this region because Nate had a lot of property there. I don't know what his strategy is. 81,192. And yes, I know that there's been a castle for sale in this region for like several weeks at least, if not months. I just don't have castle money. I would love to have a castle. I would love to have it. But I just don't have castle money. And iron is at 801. And I have another mountain to set up in this region. I just have not set it up yet. It's a lot of question about where to put the DEC and where to get cards, right? Okay, and we've got Aura at 1,700. Okay, let's go back to chat, try to catch up with everybody. Thanks for humoring me. Let's go ahead and get back into chat. Affliction's here. Welcome, Affliction. Thanks for dropping by. Let's try to, I know we're getting towards the end of the hour. You know what? Snowballs has been #1 in the chat for this entire episode. So I would like to say thank you, Snowballs, and I will send you 1 cc of the Arena Fanatic and 1 cc of a pickle, Yaba's pickle. So in the chat, Snowballs, please put your hive name so I can send it to you. Let me get my notebook out here, notepad. I'm scrolling down towards the end of the chat, and Wibble and everybody's been going on with the beaver. I'm, you know, hasn't been said yet if one is the. I kind of figured the beaver would be a earth card, but is the beaver going to be a water card and put on? You know, be the common? I don't know. Any word on that? Okay, so let's say here. Okay, I'm looking for it's Pete. I'm trying to find his in-game name amongst all the beaver questions. Snowboarder Pete. Okay. Gathering says cards and maybe packs. Surprised the team didn't get a cinder value to burning chaos back. That would be interesting if you could just burn a pack. I don't think I would, though. They would have to give us a nice bonus to make it worth it, because what if it has a nice legendary card in it? Cold Ass says, burn the cards, guys. LOL. I'm not burning my precious cards. Yeah, it's very tough to figure out which cards you want to burn. Paul says, is the beaver going to be a land card? That was just my guess, Paul. I just kind of guessed on that. It seems like a logical one, right? To me, it kind of fit in with Earth. Oh, SPS Dow says it's going to be a jackpot reward card. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's the answer. I just kind of logically felt it would make a good Earth card for land. Actually, beavers are kind of destructive. So maybe not that great for your land. Paul says, I'm not a fan of things you buy and have no way at all of getting rid of them, like power cores and mage wagons. Yeah, I started to think about the whole power core thing, and that kind of idea on the land card would benefit a brand new player to, and somewhat people with at the top end with a lot of plots that they just maybe haven't staked out yet, and they do need power cores, so they would save. But for us in the middle who have pretty much all our land staked out as much as possible, it's not going to be a whole lot of plus. Gathering says, I think lower level land cards are good for landowners that don't have their plots exactly what I just said. We're on the same page. Banana says, yeah, I wish I could sell the Aura Lab I bought before I decided to get out of land completely. Sharon says, so what happens if you sell a land? Do you keep the power core? It stays on your account as far as I know. It's just you won't have nothing to do with it unless you bought another land to use it on. It's not something you can sell. Yeah, Gathering says you have to take the power core. It just sits in your account until you use it. It's not tokenized. Yeah, like Paul says, it's soulbound. Snowball says Bronze Dragon is my financial advisor. Nope. No. Although I do have a pretty good credit rating and have made pretty good decisions through my life. Robert Fowler's here, says, I really wish you could level up cards on land like wagons. The 3-day cooldown will be really unpleasant when we use underlevel land cards. Yeah, I agree. I don't like that whole thing. But, they say there's something behind the scenes, that there's a reasoning. And usually the reason behind a rule, I forget, one of the Splinterlands team said on, I don't know if it was Dave or somebody else on chat the other day, is that if there's a rule in the game and you're asking yourself, why is that rule there? It's probably to prevent abuse. So, okay. With that, hey, Arbin, thanks. Thanks for dropping by, and I will see you tomorrow on the Atlas Earth chat as well. Thanks for dropping by, everybody. I appreciate hanging out on a Saturday every week. This is episode 135 in the books. So leave in the chat and, underneath the video when this gets posted, and a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind to push it out onto the algorithm a little bit. Let me know what you think of the overall, land cards and the direction. Okay. Do you agree with the numbers? Do you think they should be revised, etc.? It's all a work in progress. So I like the idea of them. I thought they were going to be a little bit simpler than what they are. They're a little bit more complicated, right? But I think they definitely need to look at the numbers. Anyway, everybody, thanks for stopping by. I will see you next weekend. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, hey, I'll see you in Splinterlands.